So here in the United States, many of us are preparing for Thanksgiving. If you're familiar with Thanksgiving, it tends to be a time of eating and gathering. So I thought it could be helpful to share some yoga postures that aid in digestion. So it may be a shorter practice, but these are some things that you can carry with you, not just during these times of heavier eating or maybe eating a little differently, overindulging, but any time throughout the year that you may need to revisit these practices. So coming into your comfortable seat, if you have blocks, you can bring those under the knees. If you find the knees are really floating, just to give them a little support. But no props are necessary here. So we're sitting nice and tall. The crown of the head is coming towards the sky. And just pausing for a moment here as we breathe deep into the belly to thank our body for all that it does for us. Often times of overindulging, especially with food, we may find ourselves speaking very negatively to our bodies. But trying to be mindful of all that our body does, all that it carries us through, it's bringing us to this practice, and it will bring you through this practice in the way that best meets your body. Your body is always your number one teacher. If I make a suggestion that doesn't fit for your body, that's okay. Feel free to modify or bypass. So here, from this seated position, we're going to create gentle circles with the torso. So spine is nice and long. Choosing which direction you would like to go first, you can just leave the hands on the legs as we extend back a little more, coming out over the legs a little. So these movements here are slow and controlled. Continuing to breathe. And then once you find yourself back in center, we're going to move in the opposite direction. Whatever we do on one side, we try to do on the other. Working towards balance in the body. If you find yourself getting dizzy, slowing your pace. This is really about tapping into the core, not how quickly we can create our circles. And once you find yourself back in center, we'll all meet up there. Exhaling completely once you're fully back to center. And then we'll inhale the arms up and overhead. Taking that right wrist into the left palm, see if you can grow an inch or two taller. As we exhale over to the left, creating space along the right side of the body. And if it feels better, allowing that left hand to come down and support you. You may even find yourself working towards the forearm, but we're really not trying to see how far we can bend, but how much space can we create along the right side of the body here. Using the strength of the core, inhale back to center, taking the left wrist into the right palm again, growing a little taller, exhaling over to the right, creating that space between each of the ribs along the left side of the body. Inhale back to center. As we exhale, slowly twisting towards the left hand coming behind the left hip. The right hand may reach towards the left leg, gaze coming towards the left shoulder. Spine is still nice and tall. Breathing deeply, still being able to get full breaths here. Continuing to breathe. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Inhaling back to center. As we exhale over to the right, Same thing on the right side. Right hand coming behind the right hip, gaze going towards the right shoulder. That left palm may reach towards the right thigh. We spend a few breaths here. And that next inhale coming back to center, bringing head and neck around left. Exhaling, we're just going to walk the palms out in front of us, maybe just an inch or two at a time. And when you can't come any further forward, spine is nice and long, just relaxing towards the mat or towards the earth. We'll spend a few breaths here. And we'll inhale, walking hands back towards the body. So making your way over onto one hip or the other, allowing the palms coming out to the side. You come into tabletop. So tabletop, we have the knees under the hips, wrists under the shoulders. You can have tops of the feet on the mat or toes tucked. I like to have my toes tucked. It just creates a bit more of a release in my feet. If you have any sensitivity in the wrist, you can come onto fist, and it's going to take that deep bend out of the wrist, which can feel a lot better in some bodies. Whatever you need to do here, as we inhale, we're sending the belly towards the earth, hips towards the sky, crown of the head towards the sky. As we exhale, spine is rounding, tucking those hips, chin is coming towards the chest. Inhaling, sending the belly towards the earth again. Exhaling, spine is rounding towards the sky. Allowing your breath to guide your pace. If one way or the other feels better, feel free to spend a few breaths there. We'll do one more full round of cat-cow. And then we'll all meet up in tabletop. Coming back to tabletop. From tabletop, we're going to make our way down to the mat, which you can just walk down forearms and extending your legs, or if you want to create a little extra challenge, coming back onto the toes to a plank, taking a few breaths, lowering down to the mat, all the way down to the mat. And with the forearms on the mat, hands on the mat, extending up the chest, the head, to a little baby cobra. And if it feels okay, being mindful of your lower back here, and if it feels okay in your body, we're going to use the strength of the arms as we fully extend the arms, palms on the mat. The feet are about hip width apart still. Continuing to breathe here. Take a few more breaths here. We'll exhale back down to the mat. And then just making our way over to the back here. So you can just roll on over to the back. That feels okay. You need to get repositioned on your mat to make sure your head is on the mat. Please do so. So our legs are just extended nice and long here. And on that inhale, drawing the right knee towards the chest. Continuing to breathe here. So this is commonly referred to as wind relieving pose. I will let you fill in reasons why, but it can be really helpful for digestion. We'll take a couple more breaths here. We exhale, releasing that right leg so it can lay alongside the left. Inhaling, left knee towards the chest as we hug that left knee in. And if it feels like too much to come to the outside of the leg, you can always come to the back of the thigh or even leave the hands out of it altogether. We'll take a few breaths here. On the next exhale, we'll release that left leg so it can lay alongside the right. The knees come over the hips, legs are in a 90-degree angle, so our shins are parallel to the sky or the ceiling. Arms are just out to a T. So we allow the legs to float over to the right side. That right hand may find the outside of the left thigh. And if you want a little extra twist here, sending the gaze towards the left shoulder. We'll continue to breathe here. If we're not breathing, it isn't yoga. So we always want to make sure we're breathing. We're doing nothing else. Making sure we're breathing. Anytime you find that you can't get your full regular breath, then it's a good indication that you may need to back out of the posture that you're doing. Doesn't mean you can't do it, just maybe a less intense version. So the arms out to a T, we'll inhale, legs back to center. As we exhale, legs fall over to the left side. And that left hand may find the outside of the right thigh. And you can bring the gaze towards the right shoulder, or a little extra twist, or you can keep the head in the same direction as the legs. Then a few more breaths here. Arms back out to a T, inhaling back to center. Send the soles of the feet straight towards the sky, lowering as we exhale, but we want to do so with strength and control. Free to challenge yourself here. Maybe let the legs hover, maybe even bring them back up and start again. But keeping those feet flexed helps ensure that we keep the legs fully engaged. And eventually you can allow the legs to settle on the mat, coming into your final rest. So allowing yourself to settle in to a position where you can spend a few minutes. Maybe the palms are open, allowing the feet to just fall open to their natural position, allowing the body to integrate this experience, really absorb the experience. Moment of pause before we resume our daily lives. Getting to invite some gentle movement back into the body, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. You can either make your way over onto the right side and work your way to seated, or if it feels good in the body, you can rock your way up to seated. We'll come back to that easy seat where we first began our practice today. Maybe the eyes are closed or just soft gaze towards the floor. Or maybe they're fully open, whatever feels best for you. We're going to inhale those arms and up and overhead one last time. As we exhale, allowing the thumbs to brush the forehead, asking for kind thoughts, allowing the thumbs to brush the lips, asking for compassionate words, eventually allowing the palms to rest at the heart, asking for a loving heart. I sincerely thank you all for sharing in this practice with me. Namaste.